Hello, everyone. Welcome to another new year and another new Open Cluster Management Community meetings. Today, we're just going to talk about the release planning for 0.6.0. But before we get to that, I just want to quickly mention that um, the old organization, Open Cluster Management, which was the org name used by Red Hat ACM, has been renamed to something else. So the community OCM now holds a pretty, I guess, exclusive to the name of Open Cluster Management. Just kind of nice. Well, with that announcement out of the way, Yuan, do you want to drive this release discussion? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Let me share my screen. Okay, so can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for your time to attend our first meeting in 2022. And it's also a time to close our excellent work in last year. So we target to release 0.6 in January 21st. So in case you need your features to be put into this release, please ensure your PR is merged in next week. Today, I want to go through all the tasks at hand, and there seems still several issues in progress. So I hope we can go through them one by one to ensure they can be included. Okay. So the first one, placement enhancement, about selecting global scoped clusters. For this one, seems it's still in proposal. So any update on this one?
We still working on the proposal, and we submitted the PR, and still need a DEMI's review, and we will change some comments today and try to merge the proposal next week.
Okay, so the it's possible to be finished in next week, right?
We will try to do that.
Okay, we'll see. Thank you. Thank you.
I think we have risk to finish it in next week because we still not finalize the design due to the complexity of the ABAC.
Okay. So we will check by the end of next week. If it can be finished, then we will put it to next release. Okay, thank you. Next one is the new repo for import magic class into Argo CD. For this one, Mike, any update on this one?
I'll try to push this repo by the end of next week.
Okay, thank you. Next one is still placement enhancement about scheduling based on class capability. So, an update? I saw please.
The PR is under the last round of review. I think Dave East gave some comments yesterday. It should be fine to be merged next week. I still have some comments from Qiujian that we need some benchmark testing. I'm not sure if that will block this.
No, I don't think so. I think there are some. Yeah, I'm looking at the comments in that PR. We might need to discuss later on that. I think there's some concern about the requeue part. Whether we need to requeue all the placement with resync. So probably we need to remove that with this PR. But yeah, we can discuss this later on.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Next one support filtering unhealthy clusters.
We have already finished part of these items, but because one of the contributors, Xu Chang, has not finished its PR yet, there's a risk for us to deliver this feature in 0.6 version.
So is it possible to split it into two issues?
But the feature include two items. I don't think they can split into two features.
So do you suggest we move this out of this release?
Yeah, I think it's better for us to move it to next release.
Okay, thank you. Next one, manifest work enhancement. So Chujian, you own this one, right?
Yeah, I think that should be fine. There are still some comments I'm trying to resolve. But we should be able to finish it.
Okay, great. Yeah, next one. This is, I think it is owned by AliCloud, support calling API of the service. So for this one, we saw, I think the PR has been merged, right? The new report has been created, but the issue haven't been updated for a long time. So any update here?
Yeah, these functionalities I'm working on, they're all working as an add-on, and I actually published a few releases in the last month. I think so this ticket is basically already done. By the way, the document is already available on our home site.
Great, thank you. Yeah. Excellent. So next one, adopt OCM placement API.
Yep, this is for the app lifecycle. This is basically done. We're just enhancing some automation tests.
Great. So can we mark the status as done?
Yes, you can.
Okay, great. Next one, allow class manager to run outside of hub clusters. So an update. Is the owner here?
Yeah, I think it should be able to finish. There are still some in progress work on that. But I think item 8 and 9 could be able to finish.
Okay. Okay, we'll put it here. I will add the milestones later. Next one, allow classlets to run outside of main cluster.
As of now, the classlet can be run outside of the main cluster, but add-ons still cannot. So I think the add-on part should not be in release 0.6, and there are a little test need to be added.
Okay.
So yeah.
So yeah, I don't have permissions to add milestones here. So could each owner add milestones to your issues to mark it as 0.6? Okay, I will check offline. So, okay, maybe Chujian, in case you have permission, could you help add the labels to these three issues here?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Okay, I think Yes.
Sorry, can I chime in for a second? Because yesterday I just opened the issue about whether we can include the Clusteradm, the client tools, into our release. Because in the last few months, I put a few commits into our command line binaries. It's been like it's like four months since the last release. But
So do you have a issue for that one?
Yeah, I'm
yes, I
trying
do.
to add
Uh,
that into. Okay, I'm going to add that into. I can now.
Yeah. And we also want to check if other features we have done is missed from this dashboard. So in case you have any more, feel free to add here.
okay.
Yeah, I think I just added into the 0.6. I think the one we actually have made quite a lot of features in the several in these months. So I think it's okay because currently we just tag it as alpha, but maybe it's fine that we release the first version with non-alpha.
Yeah, because I also added a download script, so by which we can download, we can make the users install the command line binaries by using a curl and a pipe with a bash. Then but the shell is like it will search for the latest release, which is an alpha release. I think this can be sometimes not confusing to the users. So I hope we can add it first non-alpha release for the users.
Yeah, sounds reasonable. Okay. So any others we have missed? If not, great. I think that's all for 0.6.
Thank you, Yuan Yuan.
Thank you.
I want to mention something that I forgot to bring up in the beginning of the call. We want to leverage the Red Hat Summit 2022 to submit a session called Ask the Experts, and we're going to talk about the open cluster management community. And if you're interested in joining us, I think it's Josh, me, and Kujang, and Ryan said he was interested. So please let us know through Slack. I see there's Ryan and Stefan on the call. Welcome. If you guys have anything you want to bring up.
So yeah, first thing is I would like to be on that panel or whatever. And second thing is just some questions. Can I ask some questions?
Yes, please.
So the milestone, what's the cadence for milestone? How long is the milestone in your current practice?
Yeah, currently it's like 3 months in general. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see. Another curious, we were also discussing this, like allow clusterlet to run outside of managed cluster. Is there any specific use case prompt you to work on this, and also allow the cluster manager to run outside of hub cluster? What's the use case? Maybe I
We have a proposal PR that hasn't been merged in the enhancement repo. In short, we want to so in some use cases, like you have a very lightweight cluster, and you don't want to run the agent in this cluster because it will increase the footprint in this cluster. So you can run the clusterlet in a more powerful cluster that connect to you can run the clusterlet in a more powerful cluster. For example, run the clusterlet, multiple clusterlet in a more powerful cluster that connect to different small cluster. It's more like to reduce the footprint somehow in the managed cluster. The cluster manager is different, like because we are meeting some use cases like you will have multiple hub that trying to manage different managed clusters. But each hub may only have a control plane, like you only have the API server and the controller, only have the API server, but not any worker node for this control plane. So we want to run the cluster manager outside of this control plane, and but use this control plane as a hub. So I think we have more details on this PR, which is I will put it in the.
Yeah, I can read. I know I didn't do my.
Yes. So if, for instance, if you're virtualizing the API server, or if it's not the API server, it's just a pod, for instance, then you can run the hub anywhere and just talk to the API server, just as if you were in the cluster, right? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks. By the way, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Stefan. I work with Ryan at Microsoft in the AKS team, and we work on on some projects related to the OCM.
Great, welcome.
Hey, Chujian. You just talked about a hub cluster without any worker nodes. Are you referring to KCP project?
Yeah, it could be KCP, and actually in our case it can be another. For example, in our case, it's like you have a big cluster, and in this cluster you can spawn a set of API server for the control plane in this big cluster, and each API server is managed by this big cluster, but it only have the API server, it only have the control plane, but not any worker node. So that makes.
It sounds like the same design as AKS, basically, where we virtualize the control plane, and control plane runs as pods on other clusters, and the nodes are.
Yeah, this is Josh. It's that same idea.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds that sounds interesting. It's also good for convenience for testing and all. So.
Yep.
Great. So Chujian will update the PR link to this issue, the proposal link to this issue, right?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so also some update from the Microsoft side. We are working on something compatible to OCM, and the first thing we are trying to work on is push model. So we're trying to look at the managed cluster. So we're thinking of just add the credentials cert and the key into the managed cluster as optional field. So then user just can use that as a push model to include a member cluster. So there's no two-way handshake. That's something that we are working on. And when we get to this proposal, I'll share this in this community, maybe on the Slack or maybe here. Get some feedbacks.
Great.
Thank you, Ryan. That sounds exciting.
Didn't get. Is there a question?
No, that I was just saying thank you for sharing that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Welcome.
Um,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but and I also got a question about the milestone because Ryan just mentioned about it. For now, we don't. All of our release are we have a lot of repos, and the release cycle of these repos will be synchronized with the in the mid version or the minor version in terms of Semver. But we don't have for now. I don't see a practice of publishing a patch release yet. So I wonder if the patch release of each repository are just controlled by are just controlled by each of the repo. We don't need to synchronize the patch release for all the subprojects of OCM, is it?
I think so far we don't have patch release, right?
Yeah, just in case of like CVE or any other hot fixes, just like the log4j issues, so like swipe the world last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
we haven't planned. We don't have the plan yet, but I think so. Currently, it's like you could have your patch release in each repo. But I think it was discussed like about whether we need a patch release for all the component together. Just have a patch release of the OCM and list all the change log and the tag, the version for each component that have the patch release.
Makes sense.
Did we do that on demand, depending on if there's some serious security CV that comes up, then we can raise the issue and decide to do something on demand if that's the case.
That makes
Okay,
sense.
thanks.
So any other questions?
I actually have want to discuss something. If there is if there is time, can I share my screen?
please.
Sure.
Yeah, can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Yeah, so because so this is still also the Clusteradm functions. So we are trying to add some more comment that to operate on things like add-on, placement, and cluster set, etc. So there's some discussion there. For example, currently we have a Clusteradm add-on enable, and we try to add, for example, the add-on list, add-on disable, etc. But there are also options like we have Clusteradmin get add-on, enable add-on, disable add-on, and also I want to know whether we want to have other comment like you can create a placement using the Clusteradm with some flags. For example, I can say Clusteradm create placement dash cluster selector, etc. And also Clusteradm ban the placement to a certain namespace. So I actually list some options and had some discussion with Dominic here. I want to know whether there's any suggestion and comments on how do we improve add more sub comments for the Clusteradm here.
So I think going from the beginning of this PR, it was to add a list all subcommand for the add-on, and then we slowly diverged the conversation to, hey, now that we list all of the add-on, what do we do with the other resources? So that's a little context of this conversation, and I feel like it's good that we have what you suggested, which is more verb after the like add-on like placement, and then new placement or something like that. So it allows the user to create these object easier. So I'm in favor of that. But I would like the verbs to be similar to kubectl as well, or other command line. That's my 2 cents. Min, I think you wanted to say something. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah. In the beginning, I was, for a starter trying to land on OCM, it's like after getting familiar with the most of the core models of OCM, then a user may be able to operate the OCM clusters with the Kubikato. But sometimes I find it a little bit coated boring, because there are so many concepts in the OCM, and like or how to put it, it's and some models that the name can be too long, like we don't have a shortcut, and it's not convenient to visualize the dependencies, the cross references between the OCM concepts. For example, we have a if we have a cluster management add-on, then the manager cluster add-on, it's one-to-n relationship between the two models, and each of the manager cluster add-on are working inside of the cluster namespace. So I'm trying to like looking for a subcommands that can clearly visualize the OCM core models in a single panel. Like it can be imagine a panel like the top, or or PS tree, or just the tree command in such subcommands. If we can have such subcommands in the Clusteradm operating OCM concepts, will be fun.
I see. So you are thinking about more about the dependency. We can show the dependency. For example, what's the cluster management add-on, and what's the related managed cluster add-on in each cluster for this add-on, and also the dependencies, for example, between the cluster set and cluster set bindings and clusters. Is that something you are thinking?
Yeah, and yeah, because it's just a initial thought. I'm not sure what it will look like finally, but yeah, basically that is what I am looking for, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's interesting. Yeah, I think we can think about that.
Yeah, following that, I don't fully understand what Ming says, but yeah, we kind of agree. We want to, in the high level, we are trying to also figure out a more streamlined way to expose this OCM concept. It's very powerful, looks like, but we're also thinking of ways to make it friendly or some way to can attract more contributors and users to grow this community. Yeah, I have another meeting I have to run, but it's thank you very much.
Okay.
Ryan.
So Pujang, I guess the feedback is what you're proposing, what you're showing here is too granular, and we probably need something that's easier to consume and high level. Is that what we're thinking of?
Yeah, I think so. I think I will think about that and maybe create a doc or a proposal on what should look like later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's everything. Are there anything else anyone want to bring up? Juliana, Josh, anyone? If not, Happy New Year, everyone. Stay healthy, stay safe. Take care.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Mike. Happy New Year, everybody.